Richard Brodeur, it is such a pleasure to have you here. You formed the second half of a powerhouse team. I just had the opportunity and pleasure to speak with your wife, Lorraine Olivero Brodeur, who's a doctor of nursing practice. And you guys have really formed something that's just really phenomenal. You have this academic medical background as part of it that informs a whole host of integrative therapies. We've had a chance to talk about these. I really want to highlight some of the things we discussed.
Yes.
So welcome, really happy to have you.
Pleasure being here.
Tell me what Aquarian medicine is all about.
Well, Aquarian medicine is what we believe is a new paradigm for the human being coming in this new age, the Aquarian Age. We entered it around November 11th, 2011, where my teacher Yogi Bhajan talked about a new age of coming to this earth, where humans are going to be going through an upgrade. The shamans talked about us evolving into Homo luminous. And Aquarian medicine incorporates the old and the new. It incorporates the techniques of the energy medicine of both the shaman as well as Kundalini Yoga, which we consider more of the primary care medicine, and then the shamanic energy work. Although it's very vast, a lot of times I like to think of it as more the surgery, energetic surgery. And Aquarian medicine is really a vision of the future, where we become the healer of our own lives through the tools of the ancients as well as a fusion of the modern.
It's amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's such a forward-thinking way of doing things. Now, there's a lot to unpack there, so let's unpack it one by one. And you talk about, there's a lot of buzz about how life is accelerating so quickly, in every aspect of life. Is that what this 11-11-11 kind of signifies, or?
Well, it touches upon it. I mean, we're at a different age. The fact is, our solar system moves through space along with their sun and the planets, but it's also moving towards another star, a black, what's it called, a black star or
black hole?
A dwarf star. I apologize. Mm-hmm. And when we're moving towards that, we actually move in more of an elliptical fashion. So depending on where we are, when you have times that are dark, right, medieval times, we're further away, right? We're not traveling through very high energy portions of space. Now we are, and in our lifetimes, we've lived through both. When I grew up, when you grew up, time was very different, right? A day could go by now, and we don't know what to do with it. Our nervous system doesn't know how to adjust to it. And that's where Kundalini Yoga is so critical, because it helps strengthen and upgrade the nervous system. We have these different energies.
So, Kundalini, tell us, you said this word upgrade, and I love that because that's obviously a big part of what we're doing. So we're in this really unusual time in life and in history, and you talk about, you mentioned something, Kundalini Yoga is like the primary care. What is Kundalini Yoga, and what do you mean by primary care?
That's a great question. Thank you. So Kundalini Yoga, traditionally, before Yogi Bhajan brought it out to the masses, was a yoga, a very fast-moving yoga to achieve a higher level of consciousness. So I'm going to give you an example. If you and I want to go to LA, there's many different avenues we could take. We could walk, which could take some quite time. We could take a bike, we could take a car, or we could take a plane.
Sure.
So Kundalini Yoga is sort of like that rocket engine to go and try to achieve that higher level of consciousness. It's a yoga that melds different systems together. So there's different forms. Yogi Bhajan studied meditations with Tibetans. He studied Sufi meditations. He incorporated it all in there, but it all originates from India. And it was a royal yoga. So in the caste system, they only taught this to the upper caste system because they didn't want the people that were below to attain that higher level of consciousness, because maybe they would overthrow them eventually. But in terms of the primary care, in this day and age, we can't afford not to do it. It upgrades our nervous system. It strengthens it. Our wheels of light, our chakra system, our rivers of light, our meridians. Our body's not going to be able to contain the energy unless we work it out. I mean, I spent 20 years as a bodybuilder, and that got me very dense matter. But it wasn't until I started doing Kundalini Yoga that I started to become very humble and realize, hey, can you hold your arms up like this, doing breath of fire, for 31 minutes. That's a tough feat.
That's tough. That
Yeah.
sounds really tough. Wow.
But it's
Wow.
angles. So the angles all almost like antennas. Our fingers are like antennas. Our arms are like antennas. So depending on how you position the body, right, it works the glandular system, it works the nervous system. There's kriyas and meditations for all different types of elements.
Amazing. So what I'm getting is we're not going to be able to cover all that does for you right now, but if I could, as a layman, give you a synopsis, it creates high-level consciousness meditation with a very fast-paced physical component to it. I've done yoga. It's not, people can make fun of it. It is not for the faint-hearted. It is not easy, and it is exceptionally good for your body.
And I do want to just clarify.
Please.
All yoga is great yoga. They all originated back to 2 to 3 great yogis and sages. But just like cooking, sometimes, you could have 1 or 2 ingredients, but you get the right mix, and all of a sudden it hits the front of the palate, the back, the throat, and it's just the perfect combination to be able
That's
to
a great
have
way to
that,
explain it. Beautiful. All right,
flavor.
so let's keep going here. This is great. A new age we're in. I think that on every level in society, it's a whole new world we're living in.
Yeah.
So and we can describe it and look at the history many different ways. I've spoken this with many people. So that's now you have this like primary care that you're talking about where you can really help people orient themselves mentally. It sounds like mentally, emotionally, maybe, and physically.
Yes.
Tell me what shamanic energy and healing is, because that's probably a black box to a lot of people. It's like an unknown. And people are starting to hear about it. I just saw one of the best-selling books on Amazon was about shamanic healing. It's really, what is it and how can it benefit people?
It's a great question. Shamanic healing is, first and foremost, let's just back up. A shaman in different cultures, whether you talk about the Dogon culture in Africa to Russian shamans, they're usually people that entered into a tribe, right? And from my understanding of the history of it is that yogis and shamans all originated from the Himalayas as medicine, right? And eventually when people started migrating, these yogis and shamans got into a village, and then they probably saw, hey, we could see auras, energy fields. We understand the non-physical realm. The word shaman also means being able to have 1 foot in the esoteric realm and also 1 foot in the physical. So by having that ability to see both, we could help people navigate their lives to the fields that you don't physically see. You go see my wife, for example, you have a skin rash or you have something physical, you're going to prescribe a physical medication, they're going to prescribe a physical regimen, or what have you. In the shamanic world, it goes much deeper than that. There's a whole realm, journeying. Let's just take this one topic. In the shamanic realm, there are many different areas to travel that when a trauma happens, you could have soul fragmentation, for example. So when trauma happens, part of your soul will then go to a different realm because it needs to be held safe, right? And your physical body will then manifest sometimes physical ailments from that. So as a shaman, we go in there, and with your permission, nothing's ever done without permission. We travel to those realms and negotiate with that lost soul part, right? Sometimes we get a gift, sometimes we see the actual trauma, and can we bring that soul part back? And a lot of times there's conditions saying, hey, you need to, I'll only come back if I know it's safe. If Susie will do A, B, and C, right? Otherwise, I'm going to go back here where it doesn't feel safe. So that's a part of shamanic energy medicine, not just manipulating your field, but within other realms, because we're not just physical beings.
Gotcha. So it almost sounds, there's a lot of different ways to articulate healing.
Yep.
It almost sounds like you're helping people be complete. Would that be accurate? Or like, in other words, a lot of people are living in these hurts and injuries of the past, and that is really blocking their energy mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so you're helping them, it seems like in a more direct way, to be a complete person. Is that too simple?
We try to get them to be whole. I mean, we're born into this world with the original trauma of separation from the infinite. Right? That is the original trauma, right? And then we incarnate into a lineage. So then we have to deal with that lineage's karmas, right? But it is a master algorithmic game for the infinite to have it experienced through this duality in this realm. There are multiple other realms as well. And anybody can learn how to travel there. But in terms of bringing it back to your original quest with the Aquarian medicine, we tried to provide multiple levels of tools to be able to help somebody get the roadmap to get to where they want to be as a whole person. And just like climbing a mountain, there's never one way to the top of the mountain. There's multiple different avenues. And we just try to provide them those multiple avenues.
Now, one thing that in my interview with Lorraine really emphasized, which was really great to hear, is that you also can help people on a preventive basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, explain that, because like a lot of times people go to the practitioner, whether it be traditional or integrative or alternative, with a problem. How can you help people proactively? How can you help them upgrade themselves?
Lorraine will talk, because a lot of her expertise is in nutrition and food, and that is, nutrition and food holds energetic values. And that's a whole nother conversation in terms of the quality of the soil, how we grow it, the other plants that are around it, the quality of it. But in terms of a daily upgrade, with Kundalini Yoga, we learn to practice every day. We call it a sadhana. So in the hours between 4 and 7 in the morning, we recommend, although you could do it any different time. It just has to do with the way the angle the sun is hitting the earth. It's the veil between both worlds, the energetic world and our world, is a little bit thinner. It allows us to tap into that a little bit better. But the sadhana itself, you give 10% of your day to your sadhana, you could overcome anything. And there's different kriyas, almost like prescriptions, where if you have digestive issues, right, which is a lot of times third chakra issues, we could give you a kriya to help work on the energy flow to that. So if you do that on a continuous basis, anywhere from, if you do 40 days, you do 90 days, 120 days, once you hit it takes 40 days to break a habit. So if you have something funky going on, a good portion of the time, it can take about 40 days of doing the kriya along with other things to really turn that around. And if you continue over 120 days, you begin to build new neural pathways, which is really a wonderful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, build a resilience, I guess, and to new, potentially, because life can be difficult sometimes, can be a challenge. And
we're always going to be going through challenges. As a matter of fact, there's always going to be a crisis. Yeah. Yogi Bhajan talked about a crisis is meant to go through, right? I mean, in our shamanic training, we carry medicine stones in our mesa. And each of those medicine stones, we had to go through a certain trauma in our lives to turn that into a power stone. And that is metaphorical to any individual. Anytime anybody goes through trauma, something hard, once you pass that point of crisis, that becomes a point of power. And not only does it change your life, but you get to change other people's, because you can see what they go through and help them too. Because at the end of the day, we're all each other. Right? Yogi Bhajan, one of the sutras of the Aquarian Age, is recognize that the other person is you. And what I love with the Humanity Upgrade is it's really taken that sutra and kind of put it on steroids, a good bodybuilding reference, because once more people understand the power of the co-creative consciousness,
love that, love it.
The shifts in this world are going to be dramatic. And now, when we're dealing with our shadows and all our past karmas as a collective, it's dark times now. But through Humanity Upgrade, getting everybody upgraded, we could blow past that and become Homo luminous, become a new species, and dream our reality into being.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I don't know how anybody could say it any better than what you just said. And getting through that crisis builds that muscle, I can say this because you're a bodybuilder, build that muscle for the next challenge in life, and then you can help other people through their challenge, and it just builds. And it's Richard, this was You got me excited. This is phenomenal. And you know, so I really want to say I am so happy to have you and your wife with us on this journey as thought leaders. And we're going to have you back. We want to hear more about what you're doing, your successes, your challenges, and really
Thank
great
you.
to have you. Thank you.
Love to be here. Thank you for having
Thanks.
us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.